Hi you guys, welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and today I'm going to do a quickie tutorial again on how I am joining the solid granny squares together in what will either be a wide scarf or a shawl. In the case of this project, I am using fingering weight scrap yarns, my size G Clover Amore hook. You will obviously need things like tapestry needles and things like that to weave in the ends. This is another project that I highly recommend weaving in your ends quickly as you're making ends instead of waiting until you have, 10 blocks together, because, something like this where you've got, like this block has 3 colors, this one has 2, 3, 1, 3. You're going to end up with a whole lot of ends very quickly if you're not kind of weaving in as you go. You don't have to do every block at a time like I've been trying to do, but trust me, the ends get in the way of actually doing this join, because with this join, we are joining every single stitch as it comes up against another square. So those ends do get in the way. As this is a quickie tutorial and not a long form tutorial, no matter how long this is a quickie tutorial, trust me. You will need to already know how to make a granny square, understanding counting your rows. In this case, I am using double crochet solid granny squares with a 2, 2, 2, 2 center. That's what lays flat. So that's what I used. But you will already need to know how to make your granny square, form your granny square. We are not going to be starting at the corner like I normally would for this, as this is very similar to my corner to corner join. You join the side going down for your first row. And I am right-handed. This is right-handed. I am not flipping my video. I'm sorry, lefties. I am just not prepared to start doing that yet. That takes a little bit more editing and a little bit more care when I'm filming, and that I haven't done. So you're literally going to start from one corner and work your way down. If you're left-handed, you will actually be starting from your right or left-hand side and working your way down, creating this single join. When you come to row 2, 2A, you're going to join one side. 2B, you're going to start your join here and work your way up. In the case of the lefties, you will be working from your left-hand side and out to the right generally. It really doesn't matter which direction you work from, as long as you are consistent, because this join will make your corners lay very flat, but there is an obvious slip across on the diagonal of your final square in your 4-patch here. So you want that to all be facing the same direction to keep uniformity. So it really doesn't matter what direction you join from or to, as long as you are consistent across the entire project with this. So you can see here, I am ready to join in this square. In this case, I am doing a 4 round granny, solid granny. So we're going to come up. In the case of this, I am doing a chain 2 corner. So what we're going to do is come up to the corner, got 2 double crochets and then a chain 2, 2 double crochet corner. So we're going to do the first 2 double crochets. We are going to chain 1. And if you followed along with any of my other block joins, you will already be familiar with this process. So we're going to work, this square is going to be going in right here. So we're going to work diagonally into this corner first. We're going to insert our hook, reinsert our hook into our new square, draw our loop through. That's our chain 2. So our first double crochet in that corner is going to match up with the first double crochet of the corner directly below it. We've completed the double crochet stitch. We're just drawing that loop through to attach it. So again, we're going to do the next double crochet on our square. Find the next stitch on our block below. Draw our loop through. Double crochet our next stitch. By completing the double crochet and doing this draw through, that is what's giving us this woven edge or look to this join. So we're going to complete the next stitch, insert our hook into the stitch below. And this is literally a stitch for stitch join. You're going to work a stitch to completion, insert the hook into the corresponding stitch below, draw through, work the next stitch. So this is 100% a join as you go method. There is no extra ends or anything else that you need to worry about with this. This is a beautiful join to give you that braided effect, twisted effect, rope effect, if your squares are different colors. Now, this also works perfectly fine if you want to do a row of a solid and have every block ending in the same row. You will just have a double wide, and that braid effect will not be nearly as obvious, of course, because it's the same color. I do particularly like these high contrast colors though, creating that braided rope effect across the project. One of the things I really like about this style join though is it is a very solid join. It can take the weight of the project hanging off these joins, which is one of the reasons why I do the cross corners when joining squares, because a lot of times if you don't do something to add stability to the corner of your joins when doing square projects like this, you will end up with the blocks starting to pull apart and creating gaps in those corners. So you want to add as much stability as you can to the corner of your joins. So now we're back to the corner here. I think that's the right hole. I'm having a hard time seeing through the camera. And of course now my camera goes blurry. There we go. There's the second double crochet of our corner. We're going to chain one, turn our work, and we're going to go diagonal. So we're not going to join into the chain 2 of the blue. We're going to join to the chain 2 of the square beside it and work diagonal, chain one. And now we're going to come up the side of the previous column's square. And it's just like what we just did, where we're going to complete our stitch, insert our hook into the corresponding stitch of the block beside it, draw through the loop. And we're going to continue to do this down the side until we have joined all of the stitches on this side. Now the look when you're joining this outer row is a little bit weird, to be honest, when you join this last corner together, because it doesn't visually make sense, but it does work, I promise. It's one of the reasons why this stays so loose, that the 4-way intersection actually lies flat. And like I said, if you're familiar with my corner to corner join, you already know exactly all this information. I shared a lot of this as we went through that together. I think there's like 3 videos of how I joined my corner to corner squares together. 1 to do the border, 1 to do the join, and 1 how I do the outer border, I think is what it is. But you will already know how I extol the advantages to this crossover method on the corners. For bearing weight, it's great for blanket projects. In this case, I really want those to be solid because this is a very fine yarn. We do have some mixed fiber. There's some of these yarns, as these are just fingering weight scraps that I've come across as I'm cleaning up my stash. Some of these are like this, where it's a single ply wool and acrylic blend. Some of these are wool and nylon blend, standard sock yarns. Some of these are 100% acrylic sock yarns. And I want to ensure that we're not going to get pulling on a lot of these joins, and I want to make these joins as stable as possible so our squares don't lose their shape over time of this project being worn, as this is, like I said, either going to be a scarf or a stole wrap. I haven't decided which. It's wide enough to where it could be either one right now, so we're up to our corner stitches here. Slip into corresponding stitch down below. Draw through. It's our second double crochet. Draw through. We're going to do our chain 1. Insert hook into the chain 2 space, draw the loop through. This kind of completes that twist there on the corner. We're going to complete the corner. And slip into the first stitch. And now we have another square added into this project. So once again, this is a quickie tutorial. If I went a little too fast, or you need to be able to see a little bit more of what I was doing, please feel free to rewatch this video at a slower speed. This is not a very difficult technique. Once again, you can see we have stretch still, but we're not deforming across these stitches. And we have a perfectly closed, tight 4-way join there between our squares. And everything lays smooth and flat. I love how that crossover method works on those corners. That's been one of those random, I didn't see anybody else doing it, but I started doing it, and I'm just in love with how that works. And it seems to work across every join style absolutely beautifully. So if you have questions, leave them down below. I do try to get back to everybody within 7 days of leaving me a question, comment, or concern. But once again, this is just another quickie tutorial. This isn't a long form tutorial. I just want to share with you guys how this is done. Literally, you come to the last round of your square, join to the square adjacent, diagonal down, then join the stitches to the stitch below, join the corner diagonal down, join the stitches one for one, and then we're going to join the corner straight across. And that, once again, by doing that on our finished project, that gives us a very, very stable join where we've now wrapped this corner around this square's corner. So when you go to border this also will be a very smooth join here. You'll be able to work one stitch here, and continue to work across and have a nice smooth border. You're not going to have a pucker form between the two squares. You can also, if you're getting too many stitches and a ruffle is occurring, you don't have to work into the corners. You can skip the chain and work one stitch into the join. If your gauge makes this flare out on a border, you can take that, instead of doing 2 stitches, do 1, and that should keep your border tight if you have a looser gauge on your border than what your project seems to want. So again, just a very quick tutorial. I love you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye, guys.